Have you ever wondered how Rome, a city that began as a small agricultural community on the banks of the Tiber River, became one of the world's most powerful empires? Let's journey back to the 8th century BC. Rome's origin story is steeped in legend, with the city's foundation traditionally attributed to the twins Romulus and Remus. These sons of Mars, the god of war, were abandoned as infants, only to be rescued by a she-wolf who nurtured them back to health. When they grew up, they decided to build a city, but a disagreement led Romulus to slay his brother. Thus, Rome was named after Romulus, its first king. So began the reign of the 7 kings of Rome, a period filled with tales of conquest, lawmaking, and infrastructure building. The last of these kings, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, was a tyrant who was eventually overthrown. This marked the end of monarchy and the dawn of a new political structure. In 509 BC, the Roman Republic. The Roman Republic was a revolutionary concept. Instead of a king, the city was governed by 2 consuls elected by an assembly. This was one of the earliest instances of representative democracy in the world. The Republic was marked by social and political struggles, wars, and expansions. But it also saw the development of Roman law and further building of the city's infrastructure. This period of the Republic was not just about politics and wars, it was also a time of cultural and intellectual growth. Rome was absorbing and adapting the best of Greek and Etruscan culture, from architecture to religion, from literature to philosophy. From a small settlement, Rome had grown into a formidable republic, but its biggest changes were yet to come. With the last king expelled, Rome embraced a new form of government, the Republic. But what did it mean to the Roman society? In essence, the Roman Republic was a complex balancing act of power. At the top of the hierarchy sat the Senate, a body of lifelong members, typically from Rome's rich and noble class, whose primary role was to advise the city's leaders. And who were these leaders? 2 consuls, elected annually by the assembly. The consuls acted as both the head of state and the military's commander-in-chief. It was a clever system designed to prevent any one individual from amassing too much power, a safeguard against the tyranny Rome had experienced under the kings. Speaking of the assembly, it was a melting pot of Roman citizens. The assembly had the power to declare war, ratify laws, and elect the consuls. However, it was heavily influenced by the Senate, leading to a tension between the patricians, the noble class, and the plebeians, the common people. This tension culminated in the conflict of the orders, a power struggle that eventually led to significant social reforms and more rights for the plebeians. The Roman Republic was not just about internal politics. It was also a time of expansion and conflict. The Punic Wars, a series of 3 wars fought between Rome and Carthage, stand out in particular. These wars, especially the second one featuring the legendary General Hannibal, tested the Republic's resilience and military prowess. Ultimately, Rome emerged victorious, cementing its status as a dominant Mediterranean power. But the Republic was not invincible. The constant power struggles, the increasing wealth gap, and the stress of managing an ever-growing empire began to take their toll. The assassination of Julius Caesar, a pivotal event, marked the beginning of the end for the Roman Republic. The Republic stood strong for centuries, but internal strife and external threats were about to bring about its downfall. As the Republic crumbled, a new era dawned for Rome, the era of the Empire. But how did this transition happen? Let's start with the rise of Julius Caesar. Born into an influential patrician family, Caesar was a military genius and charismatic leader. His victories in Gaul expanded Rome's territory and his popularity soared amongst the Roman populace. However, his growing power and disregard for traditional republican norms raised eyebrows amongst the Senate. In a desperate attempt to preserve the Republic, a group of senators assassinated Caesar on the Ides of March in 44 BC. But the death of Caesar did little to calm the chaos. Instead, it ignited a power struggle that ultimately led to the end of the Republic. Enter Augustus, formerly known as Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir. After defeating Mark Antony and Cleopatra in the Battle of Actium, he became Rome's first emperor, marking the start of the Roman Empire. Augustus's reign was a time of peace and prosperity. He introduced a new system of government known as the Principate, where he held ultimate power but preserved the illusion of a functioning republic. This clever political maneuvering, along with his efforts to beautify Rome and expand its borders, set the tone for the empire's golden age. Following Augustus, a succession of emperors, each with their unique contributions, ruled Rome. From Trajan, who expanded the empire to its greatest territorial extent, to Hadrian, who built a wall to protect Rome's northern frontier, to Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher king who penned the Meditations, each emperor left an indelible mark on the empire. However, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. Emperors like Caligula and Nero are infamous for their cruelty and extravagance, serving as stark reminders of the absolute power and potential for corruption within the empire. The Roman Empire had reached its zenith, but as with all empires, it too was destined to fall. But that's a story for another time. The mighty Roman Empire, once invincible, was now on the brink of collapse. But what led to its downfall? Imagine a civilization that had once spanned 3 continents, a beacon of culture, innovation, and might, now teetering on the precipice of destruction. The decline and eventual fall of the Roman Empire wasn't an overnight event. It was a slow, complex process that involved a multitude of factors. First, let's talk about the economic crises. The empire, once a powerhouse of wealth and prosperity, was dealing with rampant inflation. The cost of maintaining roads, buildings, and the famed Roman military was astronomical, and the empire's coffers were emptying fast. The debasement of the Roman currency, the denarius, only added fuel to the fire. Next, we must consider military overspending. Rome's powerful legions, which had once conquered vast territories, were now draining resources. The cost of maintaining a standing army was a tremendous burden on the empire. The constant wars and territorial expansions had also thinned the ranks, leading to the recruitment of non-Roman mercenaries who had little loyalty to the empire. Another critical factor was the division of the Roman Empire. In a bid to better manage the vast territories, Emperor Diocletian divided the empire into the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire in the late 3rd century. This division, while initially beneficial, eventually led to political instability, with frequent power struggles and civil wars. Coupled with these internal factors were external pressures. The empire was constantly under attack from various barbarian tribes, including the Visigoths and the Vandals. The Roman military, already spread thin and underfunded, was unable to fend off these invasions effectively. All these factors combined to create a perfect storm that led to the fall of the mighty Roman Empire. In 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire fell when the Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, marking the end of more than a millennium of Roman dominance. Though Rome fell, it left behind a rich legacy that still resonates today. But what are these lasting influences? Well, let's dive into the world of ancient Rome and see how it continues to shape our modern world. First, let's talk architecture. Roman architectural prowess gave us the arch, the vault, and the dome. Even today, these structural elements are vital in modern construction. Take the United States Capitol building, for instance. Its iconic dome is a nod to Rome's pantheon. Then there's Roman law. It was one of the first legal systems to establish the principle that all citizens had a right to justice. This is the foundation of the legal systems in many countries today, including the United States and nations throughout Europe. The concept of innocent until proven guilty. That's Roman law. Next, consider the Latin language. While it's no longer spoken, it lives on in the Romance languages: Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. Not to mention it's the language of science, law, and the Catholic Church. Latin phrases and roots are scattered throughout the English language, proving that Rome's linguistic influence is far from dead. And let's not forget philosophy. The Romans adopted and adapted Greek philosophy, creating a rich cultural tapestry that has influenced Western thought for centuries. Stoicism, a school of thought that was popular in Rome, continues to be a guiding philosophy for many today. Finally, we must mention the Roman calendar. The calendar we use today, the Gregorian calendar, is a refined version of the Julian calendar, introduced by Julius Caesar himself in 46 BC. So you see, Rome's influences are everywhere, in our buildings, our laws, our languages, our thoughts, and even how we measure time. Rome may have fallen, but its legacy lives on, reminding us of a time when it was the center of the world.